Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Plastic.
And I'm your host, Paper.
And tonight we'll be reflecting on a little film known as The Godfather.
Yes, more specifically, The Godfather Part 1. Classic film, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring a host of stars. If you don't know who plays in The Godfather by now, I feel sorry for you. I will personally send you a copy of The Godfather to watch. I mean, you're looking at James Caan, you're looking at Al Pacino, you're looking at Marlon Brando. Robert Duvall. Not to be confused with Shelley Duvall. She was not in The Godfather. But she did take a bat to Jack Nicholson's head, so okay, that's always a good thing. Just an amazing cast of actors and a lot of work to get that movie made. Where do you want to start?
Speaking of amazing cast of actors and everything, let's just roll right into the very first scene when it comes in with that beautiful music. And I do believe he's talking Sicilian. No, quote me on that. You can all let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong. But the man is speaking to Sicilian to the Don as the Don sits there and just pets a cat. From the opening scene, when you have I believe he's the mortician, and he's speaking to the Godfather, and the Godfather's sitting there holding the cat, just letting this cat do what he does. But it's just a powerful scene because you can tell the Don just is in full control of everything in the scene, including the cat.
And you know who the biggest star of that movie was? The cat itself. That cat had a million and one shot. He was a walk-on role. They found that cat just wandering the studio, and he literally just went up to Marlon Brando, sat on his lap, and Marlon Brando just started stroking him. Francis Ford Coppola just went, go with it. Just go with it. They kept on rolling, and the rest is history. I don't think that cat ever got paid, though.
Well, the more I think about it, it builds to the scene and it builds to the character of the Don himself. Because, yes, you have this respected, dangerous man, but he's in his home. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, yeah, they came to him, but they came to him in his home. And in his home, he is king. And it's a beautiful scene. I love the way that whole thing rolls through.
And I love how, the Don is holding business on his daughter's wedding day, his only daughter's wedding day, and he's conducting the family business. But he's doing it to build his family, to protect his family. That wedding scene alone was just extravagant beyond all means.
I also enjoy how, also correct me if I'm wrong on this one, the wedding is framed with the family photo. You got the Don and I keep wanting to say it's Sonny's wedding. It's not Sonny's wedding. It's
no, it's
the daughter's wedding.
It's his daughter's
wedding. So they're at the wedding, and the Don and everybody else are lined up for the photo, and Michael's not there. So the Don's like, no photo, we're not doing this. And then at the end of the wedding scene, when everything plays through with the stuff with the Don, the meetings and all that, it's finally framed with Michael at the photo, and they're taking the photo, and the entire wedding scene is framed in the marker of that photo. I always kind of thought that was cool.
It's just, all three movies are just beautifully made. You can watch them over and over and over again. You'll always find something new to watch in every one of them and say, I don't remember that. Out of all the death scenes, out of all the murder scenes in that movie, I know one that you are particularly fond of in that first one. And it's not even a full-on murder. It's an attempted murder. You love that scene where Fredo Corleone is in the car. He's fumbling the gun getting out. His father's being shot, and the oranges are just rolling. Am I wrong about that?
No. I hate that scene. I am so mad at Fredo for that. Oh, don't even get me started. Fuck Fredo, all right? I'm sorry. This episode is not kid friendly. I'm going overboard. Fredo, okay? Oh, man. No. I mean, dude, you're in charge of your old man. You literally just got out of a meeting where he shut down drug trafficking.
And you let your father get shot. And it goes to show on Fredo's weaknesses, too. Because throughout all three of the movies, throughout the novel, every aspect of it shows that he's just this sickly, not unintelligent, but just not fully intelligent. Just doesn't have what both Sonny and Michael have. He doesn't have the balls.
He should not have been a made man. He shouldn't have been. He should have been taken care of. That was it. He should have been given the shit that what's her name's husband was given.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
A job. He should have been given a job, like Connie's husband.
Yeah.
That was it.
Carmine.
Oh.
I mean, he just Carlo. Excuse me. Carlo should have never had anything to do with the business, and the same thing with Fredo. Fredo just was not. He wasn't capable of just about anything. Like I said, he was sickly when he was a baby. One of the big things about Fredo, if you read the books, is Fredo was also scared of how everybody would perceive him. Because in the book, Fredo is a closeted homosexual. Not that there's anything wrong with that from all of our homosexual friends out there, but that's just his character. And back in that time and in that day, it wasn't something you just went out and broadcast like it's done now.
Especially if you're a member of a serious mob family.
Yeah. I mean, in the book,
Catholic mob family at that.
Yeah, the
not being sounded
family.
any of our Christian Catholic members out there.
You know, when your father's the capo di tutti capo, which is the boss of all bosses, you sort of run into that issue. You don't want to be shown as weak.
So we get to the scene now. The Don is in the hospital. He's been shot up. Michael doesn't know about this for a while. And I was pondering this. I didn't get to ask you about this one. Where is Michael when the Don is shot?
Michael is out with Kay. When the Don
No. He's more than out with Kay. He's nowhere around at all because they find out by looking at a newspaper. Or is that different in the book?
No. It's exactly the way it is in the movie. He's with Kay in Manhattan, I believe. They're walking along, buying Christmas gifts for everybody, buying gifts for Tom Hagen, buying gifts for the Don. They're all buying gifts. And as he's walking by, you just see, and this goes to the power of Al Pacino's acting, you just see Al Pacino's face just go.
You need to sit down for a second and go over there and take care of him?
If I did, I'd have to take my belt off, and my back hurts. I don't want to take the belt off right now. But let's take it back from right where you got me on track.
Yeah, we're picking up where Michael discovers his father. Where discovers his father's been shot.
Yes, when they're strolling along the boulevard, the shopping in Manhattan. They're buying Christmas gifts for the entire family. And to the power of Al Pacino's acting throughout all three movies, but especially The Godfather 1, you just see his sweet and sullen face just completely just go blank. And I mean, it just goes to the power of Al Pacino's acting. Yes, I'm an Al Pacino fanboy.
So to look into a deeper mode, because we're still into the fact that his father is in the hospital. Michael gets there, and there's nobody at the hospital. Now, the book would probably give further detail. Why is nobody at the hospital? As a person who just read or saw the film, I want to know, why was nobody at the hospital?
They were supposed to have armed guards at the hospital. Armed police guards. The police chief, Sterling Hayden's character, McCluskey. Okay? McCluskey pulled all his protection away from him. That's why, if you remember at the beginning, the man who made the cake, Enzo the baker.
Yes.
Okay, he asked the Don for a favor. And that favor was that his daughter's boyfriend was getting repatriated back to Italy. He was basically a POW in the United States, and they were going to send him back to Italy. But the daughter fell in love with him, wanted to marry him. Well, when that boyfriend came to visit the Don, I mean, he had everything. He had to thank the Don for everything, for being.
So he's the kid who showed up with the flowers that Michael told to stand out front and look menacing.
Yeah. He's the one where the Don, Michael turns around and pops the collar up. Put your hand in your pocket, get rid of the flowers, which is great. He just picked it on a whim.
wings him.
It was an ad-lib scene, too. He literally just takes flowers out and throws them just to make him look tough so that he would look like an armed guard. But the rest of the guards were pulled off by Captain McCluskey so that they could sew...
The same guy who shatters Michael's jaw.
Yes. All so that they could assassinate the Don. That was the whole point of pulling them guards off there, was to assassinate the Don.
Okay, alright, that makes some sense. That makes some sense.
Now let's talk about Michael getting his jaw shattered.
Let's talk about let's talk about what happens after Michael's jaw gets shattered. What Michael does in retaliation for all of this.
Well, yes.
It's quite beautiful.
Yes,
it's quite beautiful.
It is quite beautiful.
Nobody in the family thinks he's set for it. Nobody thinks he's ready for it. Michael's not even 100% sure he's ready for it. Until the time comes.
Until the time comes. And he does get a little bit of training from him, from his brother. You got to bump in a minute for the head. But, he goes down in the basement and he's told to, look, put your hand down slowly, drop the gun, and walk away. Don't stand there. We're keeping the gun loud so it scares off anybody that's, might be wanting to sit there and notice who you are. Just drop the gun. The special tape.
Look, but don't look away. Look at them. Don't look too long. Don't look away like you're afraid. Walk away. Don't run because you're already controlling. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to you anyway. Drop your hand slowly and let the gun go. They'll think you still have it. Walk away. Beautiful.
And it was beautiful how he played scared. Like he went to this meeting acting as if he was afraid something was going to happen to him. They had already busted his jaw. All he asked for was, I don't want my father any more harm to come to him. This is the point where you know something's about to happen and you just don't know what. But this is the turning point for not just Michael Corleone, but for Al Pacino in this movie. Up until the point he walks into that restaurant, asks to use the bathroom, before Paramount Pictures and the studio heads saw that scene, they really were considering firing Al Pacino. They just didn't think he had the look of it until he walked out of that bathroom, put a bullet in Sollozzo, put a bullet in Captain McCluskey, and took them out. And from that point on, I mean, he's in the family, no matter how much he wanted to not be in the family. Now he's doing it. He ends up being just like his father.
Yeah. Now it brings us to Sicily. Sicily is a beautiful place, a magical place. But every Sicily scene is stolen. And who is it stolen by? By a little-known actress that was swept up, according to you, at least for our private conversations, was swept up on scene.
Yes, Apollonia. And I have to look up the name of the actress. Beautiful actress, and I believe she was only 19 at the time. They had gone through a bunch of actresses. They were either beautiful, but couldn't act, or could act, but just weren't that kind of beautiful, that lightning bolt.
That lightning bolt. I love that one.
I mean, it's a beautiful way to see it. I mean, if you've ever seen a woman you can't take your eyes off of, our wives included, obviously. But she had just walked in. She was the very last actress to be seen. And the casting director did exactly that. He looked right at her, and he was struck by lightning. He absolutely loved her. That's it. That's Apollonia. It's a shame, she had to go and start an ignition on a car for Michael, but...
Talk about a faulty ignition. Oy.
Yeah. Well, you know who placed the bomb in that car, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It was the one who petitioned for Michael to get her from the father. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there were two bodyguards there. There was one who sat at the table speaking English, doing the translation to Michael, and the other one who was speaking to the father, trying to find the girl.
This was the taller of the two. We can research that a little further. He was paid off he was told, I'm going to go to, like, all he wanted to do was go to America. That's all this guy ever dreamed about. This is why he turned on Michael. And he did exactly that. He blew up Apollonia and disappeared. But Michael, if you ever see get the chance to ever see any of the outtakes from The Godfather, Michael completely found him. And what do? He's leaving his, Fabrizio was his name. He's leaving his pizza restaurant, and of course, boom, they blow his car up. And
fitting.
You know it's a dead payback for what happened to Apollonia. They could have shot him. They could have did 100 different things. They could have tortured him. No, they blew him up in the car. Payback for Apollonia. I mean, you just know it. You got to check the outtakes out on that.
And I got to bring up, now that we're bringing on the thing of death, let's do some of the better deaths in this film, because there is a lot of death in this film.
Oh, yes. There's deaths everywhere. Death of horses, death of, made men. What's your favorite death?
Do you have a favorite death? That's about what I was about to ask you.
Yeah, my favorite death is Khartoum, the horse.
Go.
I don't care how many times I watch it. I'm not a fan of horses.
I
don't advocate horses getting their heads chopped off and put in the movie producer's bed. But that horse was my favorite of all death scenes in any of the Godfathers. And they tried multiple times. There's a little known fact that to mold a head, to make a head that looked like a horse, they just couldn't get the features down right. So what did they do? They go to the slaughterhouse. They get a horse's head, paint the diamond on his forehead. That's painted on. That's the only thing fake about that horse. That is a real frozen horse's head that he wakes up to.
Good Lord. I'm going to go ahead and give my favorite death scene to my second favorite character of the film, is Sonny, when he is shot down outside the crossroad, or the checkpoint.
The causeway.
I'm sorry, they light him up like he is Swiss cheese.
I always found that to be an interesting death. I mean, you can't, unless you're shot 150 times like Sonny was, you can't really tell if that's just a bit of hamming it up and overacting, or, God, could you imagine getting shot with Tommy guns 150 times?
Six guys with Tommy guns?
Yeah.
All directions? God damn.
And the guy in the toll booth, the hell with him. He deserves whatever he got. I don't know what he got, but he deserved that.
Right? That death was like so... I did not see that death coming. Not in the slightest.
And nobody did. And here's the thing. It was set...
How did they do that to my boy?
My boy. Yeah. Now tell me what you gotta tell me. And here's the thing, too. The brother-in-law...
another great scene from freaking Robert Duvall.
Yes.
Props to Robert Duvall. I don't care. If Robert Duvall's involved, I'm probably going to watch it. I dig it.
Yeah, I've never seen Robert Duvall in a bad movie. Everything.
But it's so important that you needed to get a drink before you came and talked to me.
Yes.
Why? Now he's got your drink. What do you need to tell me?
How could you not come to me immediately? But he understood. You got to remember, he loved him like a son. And him and Sonny were brothers. No matter how you look at it, they didn't have to be from the same blood. He was a Mick Kraut in a Sicilian family. But he loved him from the moment he was playing with him as a kid and was protected by him. Tom Hagen found him in an alley getting his ass kicked. They were going to kill him, this mob of kids. And Robert Duvall's character, Tom Hagen, stopped it. And that's how they became close friends. And the Don was always grateful for that. When Tom Hagen was found, he had an eye infection. His eye was covered in pus. The Don paid for all that. The Don paid for him to go to law school, knowing that you're just grooming him to be the lawyer. I mean, he was as much family as anybody else in all those flicks.
I'd also like to throw an honorable mention to Leave the Gun.
Take the cannoli. One of the most often quoted quotes in any movie: "Leave the gun, take the cannoli." I would have always thought it was, "Pull over, I gotta take a whiz." But no, leave the gun, take the cannoli. I just got to tell my wife earlier tonight.
They made a game apparently where you pick up as the guy in the back seat.
Yes, the game was actually the Godfather. The game, I believe it was put out by EA Sports, and exactly that happened. You're playing the guy. You're playing that character. You never see him in the movies.
Yeah.
But you...
No, he's just a shouting figure with a gun.
That game. I haven't played that game in probably 10, 15 years. But it was a great computer game. Like, I would sit down for hours upon end acting like I was a goddamn Godfather. That like and share button down here somewhere.
So down, look, down, follow the finger.
Yeah.
Follow it.
Yeah,
follow it.
Right there. Right where this guy said it.
This guy. I would like to also whipping to Connie's husband for being a piece of shit.
Yes. And if you don't already know, that was a real ass whooping. I mean, James Caan beat the shit out of him. The guy was brash. The guy had a bad attitude. The guy had started, I don't remember if it was Talia Shire's character, or, if it was Connie, if he smacked her around in real life, or if it was just a girlfriend. But James Caan wasn't having any of it. So when you see that scene and James Caan's going after him and beats the shit out of him and takes that trash can, he put him in an ambulance. He beat him so bad. But the guy never fucking did it again.
Hey, I mean, problem solved, problem saved, it's all, am I right?
My Sicilian wife just said, yeah, should have shot him in the fucking head.
Shit, better get that woman a shovel.
Leave the gun, take, see? The most often quoted one out there. And she's Sicilian. She scares the hell out of me some days, so.
So Sonny's dead, Michael's back, and we've just had our meeting with all the families. The hatchet is buried, and the Don finally realizes that it wasn't I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so bear with me. It's the Salazzo family?
Salazzo, yes. The Salazzo family.
They're not the ones who masterminded the entire killings and the war and everything else, but it was I'm going to pronounce this one wrong again, so bear with me, the Benzinato?
You're getting closer. The
Benzanaro?
You're getting closer, but you got your vowels mixed up. Bronzini,
son of a
yes.
bitch. Son of a bitch.
The Bronzinis, the Tatalias, Bruno Tattaglia.
If you excuse me, kids, I'm Natasha Greek, so, there's only a little bit I can figure out some of this time.
Yeah, it's all Greek to me.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
You know I'm going to use that line every time I talk to you.
So from here, things get a lull. There's things that are quiet, and I never really understood the lull. I mean, they don't do anything. They don't build, they don't prep, but they know it's coming. They know the double cross is coming. It's all his father thinks about into his last days. Thankfully, his last day got to be spent with his grandson in the Oranges, but right up to his death, he worries about it. And he's telling Michael, the man that comes to you, it's going to be the man who betrays you. Sure enough, on the damn day he's being buried, who comes to Michael with an offer?
That ends up being the traitor. It's going to be somebody close to you. You touched on something a second ago that I really want to get into that I always found fascinating. They were filming that shot with Marlon Brando in the garden when he passes. When Don Corleone passes away, they were losing the light. You got to remember, they filmed that scene for hours, and the light was just starting to go down. It was the end of the day. I believe it was sometime in the end of summer. They filmed all night, and they still weren't going to make it. So Marlon Brando goes like this. Give me a second. I want to do something that I usually do with my grandchildren. And he goes over, and they just keep on rolling, and they're rolling. He puts the oranges in his mouth. I wish I had an orange right now. It'd be funny. And they put the orange in his mouth, and he's walking around. He's doing the Frankenstein monster, thing. The reaction on that kid...
All right, go ahead.
Sorry. The reaction on that kid is 100% fear. They were not expecting. That kid wasn't told, I want you to scream and cry and get scared. That's his actual reaction to seeing this. And Marlon Brando picking him up. Marlon Brando, as great as an actor as he is, had a really bad rep. But if you could see the sweetness in Brando when he picked that kid up just to calm him down. Brando might have had a bad rep, but he was a sweetheart.
I don't know, man. I heard some stuff that went down in France with him and the director that the actress didn't know about was going to happen. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah. Maybe he was crazy. But who cares? Who isn't crazy? I'm crazy.
No, it was an interesting film.
My name's paper, your name's plastic. How much crazier can we get?
Yeah, right? Seriously. I'm me and my plastic bin over here.
Yeah.
So, the fading light in the garden. Was that a thing? Did he just decide to just kill the character then and there?
No.
Was that Brando's decision, or was that just part of the script?
That was part of the script. I mean, the Godfather, Don Vito Corleone was going to die, but they couldn't keep redoing the scene over and over again the way they had it scripted. So that's how they did it. They cut in that scene with the oranges, and
it felt very natural. It felt family.
It was 100% natural to him. I mean, it was his idea. He went with it, and it worked in spades.
And as soon as the Don is in the ground, the family house is sold, and they go to war. My man Robert Duvall is told that you steer clear of this one, you are out.
Yes. Well, actually, no, that doesn't happen until you got to remember, he wipes out the rest of the 5 families in between all that.
And this is after the Don is dead.
After
right?
the Don is dead, yes.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
But the Don is dead. Everybody gets wiped out. And actually, now that I reminded that everybody gets wiped out, we completely grazed over Vegas. But the only reason I grazed over Vegas is because it isn't that prevalent in the films. It's there in the background if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of work to claim Vegas.
Yeah.
But you only get one scene in Vegas with Fredo, and the other scene where you get to see get shot in the eye through the glasses.
Oh, Mo Green.
Yeah, you get to see Mo Green shot in the face.
Yeah, what that was, that entire setup was done. The Don was dead. Michael's consuming power. This is Connie's son's christening, and then while the christening is going on, because it's a good alibi for everybody. I was at my nephew. I'm the Godfather.
Right? There's a priest there. You can't vouch for me.
And if you realize, he's becoming a Godfather, literally and figuratively. He's becoming the Godfather. So all this takes place during the christening, and you see the scenes intercut. The baby being christened, and this and that. You want to talk about killings? These are some of the best killings in movie histories. Mo Green in the eye.
A montage of blood, I'll give it that.
Mo Green in the eye. Strachey on the steps of the courthouse.
On the steps of the fucking courthouse. God damn.
Beautiful movie full of death.
Yeah, right?
And family.
And they finally, because they did not realize that this film would be so good and it would require more, they wrapped it up so beautifully. Because it ends much like the way the beginning scene with the wedding begins and ends on that same note. Kissing of the ring and moving on. It's beautiful. You gotta love it. When he just
closes the doors and that is it. And once again, they reused that scene almost exactly in The Godfather 3. Every time an ascension to the Don's position happens, when Vincent becomes Godfather, exact same thing. Doors closed. Vincent Corleone sitting in the chair. You are now a Corleone. I sort of wish I was a Corleone. You're Greek. You're about as close as a Corleone as you're going to have. Any of us here.
No, I'll take the calzone.
I'd take the calzone. Cannolis, calzone.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I'll take the cannoli. And on that note, kids, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you enjoyed our little spiel, our little rant. And again, hope you enjoyed. Hope you subscribe. Hope you share. Hit the like. Remember, I'm plastic.
I'm paper.